All right. Yes, I still have the stupid microphone like this. So we are talking about today something that I think people really just, maybe they've overheard it so much that it's kind of like they just don't even pay attention to it anymore, or they've heard it so much that it's just kind of like this robotic statement now. And what I find people not understanding this is really hindering them from feeling good about manifesting their SP and allowing it to, manifest into their reality, but really with anything else manifesting. So stay tuned because you definitely want to watch this. Hey everyone, it's Kim Velez, conscious life and success coach and licensed mental health therapist. All right, so before we dive in, I have an exciting announcement, at least it's exciting to me. I have leased new office space, a very big office. I'm fucking excited. I am moving in there next week. So by the time you're watching all these videos I'm uploading now, when my new ones after this week will be from the new office. Now it's going to take a couple weeks to put it together because I've ordered everything online, but everything is backed up and delayed and blah, blah, blah. So I'm really excited because I'm going to do my YouTube in there. I'm going to have a station for my podcast, a station for my YouTube, and a station for me, boss lady, doing her thing at her big ass CEO desk. So I'm excited. So I will, once it's done, I'll take a video of it and share it on my Instagram, but it probably won't be for another month because like I said, things have to come in that I've ordered. All right. So this is what we're talking about today. Before we jump in, if you feel like you need additional support, I do have email coaching available. I also have Manifest Your SP Back and Keep Them for Good online course. I also have a paid Facebook group that's $30 a month where I jump in twice a week. I do live Q&A and I just do like a live training on a topic around manifesting SP or money. And then I also have free resources. I have my podcast, Secure Girl, link is below. And I also have my free Facebook group called Live a Limitless Life. All of that information is below in the description box. Okay, so this is what we're talking about today. We're talking about this main thing that people who follow Neville, people that are all trying to manifest their SP back, really aren't paying attention to. And it's really as simple as this. It's called persist until it hardens into fact. So I'm doing a video on this because I know I fucking say it all the time, right? And people will say, I know Kim's going to say persist until it hardens into fact, but why the fuck aren't you persisting then? So let's look at this, right? Because again, I just think it's so overused that when we hear things over and over again, we kind of lose its value sometimes or like the impact of it. So I think that may be what's happening to a lot of people. So I'm doing a special video breaking this the fuck down so you can get your SP back and you can get other people. I know I've manifested millions of them back. I got one right now that's in my life, so I'm here with you. I'm doing this with you and I'm telling you what the fuck works and what doesn't work. And take it from someone who knows, not from people who have never done this, because how the fuck do they know? Okay, so persist until it hardens into fact means you persist in the story of your concept of self as well as your person or anything else you're manifesting for that matter until it solidifies into your reality. So what does that mean? Well, I'll tell you what it does not mean. It does not mean that I keep a mental diet for 3 or 4 days and then I stop. It does not mean that I keep a mental diet for 2 weeks and then I spiral the fuck out of control for 2 months. It does not mean that. It does not mean that I manifest my SP back in, but they're not showing up the way that I want. So now I'm saying this doesn't work and nothing's changed and how come they haven't been recreated? Okay, none of that means persist until it hardens into fact. So let's look at this. Okay, so you have an old concept of self about you, a self-identity about who you are to this person. You also have a story you've attached to this person about who the fuck they are and how they feel about you. And when you start rewriting that and doing your mental diet, it's not perfect. Which by the way, it'll never be perfect, just FYI. But it's understanding that they are only reflecting back to you what is dominant in your internal world. So when they come in and they're not the greatest, don't give the fuck up. You persist until it hardens into fact. All they're doing is reflecting to you that there's still more dominant story in your mind about them that was not favorable. So all you need to do to create the reality you want is what? Persist until it hardens into fact. So you keep going inside your mind and focusing on the story of them and the version of them that you want to experience, and your concept of self having that beautiful experience. Well, that concept of self is not going to be like, this shit doesn't work. They don't love me. They don't want me. They're still being an asshole, blah, blah, blah. None of that will be your concept of self. So you have to keep persisting and changing the internal dialogue in your mind until it hardens into fact. There is no other way, my friend. Stop looking for the fucking shortcut. It doesn't last. Nobody who's manifested an SP back has fucking kept them if they didn't change their inner story and keep fucking working on it. This is why most success stories aren't really success stories. They're success stories about manifesting the SP back, which to me is the fucking easiest part of this game. But let's do a follow-up. Some of them are, but let's do a follow-up where these people are with them 3 months, 6 months, a year later. And most of them will not be. Most of them will have remanifested the whole shitty experience again. Why? Because they did not persist in the version of their person until it hardened into fact. What they did was they saw a change, or they saw their person show up in a way that they didn't like, and they instantly stopped doing their mental diet, and they kept reaffirming their old concept of self as well as the old story of their person, which they persisted in that more than the new version, which is why the old version remanifested fully. So this really, listen, I know I say this all the time, but like, because it was so mind-blowing to me of really how easy this is. It really is just your thoughts. You don't have to fully believe this shit. You don't have to believe it to manifest. In fact, you're not going to believe your new concept of self, and you're not going to believe the new story about your person, but you fucking reaffirm it until you've convinced yourself that this is the truth. And part of that will start convincing you because of the repetitiveness. This is, if you understand how the mind works, then you'll understand this, but also because it'll start reflecting in your 3D and you're like, fuck yeah, this works. And so through you repeating and affirming, and through you having it reflected back to in your 3D, and both are being consistent, eventually it does harden into fact. Now, don't get hung up on the word eventually and think, oh my God, what does that mean? Well, that means eventually. I don't know how long it's going to take you to overcome the old concept of self and overcome the old story of you, where your new story, old story of them, and I don't know how long it's going to take you to overcome that and have the new story of them and the new story of you more dominant. That's the game changer. This is why you have to focus on the mental diet. Don't waste your time on SATs. You don't have to. If you like it, go for it. But if you're not doing your mental diet, you're literally wasting your time. Because you're going to manifest that scene, and then they're going to fucking leave again because you haven't changed anything. And if you believe your thoughts create, and you understand law of assumption, and you understand you're the creator of your reality, then you understand that the contents of my mind are what manifest. So if the contents of my mind about my SP are, they're no good, they're shitty, they don't want me, they're not ready for a relationship, well, then that's the version of them that's going to keep showing up. If your contents of your mind about you in regards to your SP is that they don't want me, they're not choosing me, they want someone else or whatever, well, then that's what you're going to manifest. So your contents of your mind are what manifests. I'm going to say it again. Your contents of your mind is what manifests. There's nothing else. So you have to persist until it hardens into fact. Why do you think Neville says it a gazillion times? Persist, persist, persist until it hardens into fact. It's not a fact until it's in your reality like every fucking day. That's when it's a fact. It's a fact when your SP has been with you and you're in a committed relationship and 3 months have gone by, 6 months have gone by, a year has gone by, and you've been maintaining this, and now this is your new fucking story and your new reality, and it's consistent. It's not hardened into fact as soon as they come in. In fact, that's only showing you that your thoughts create and that your reality is starting to reflect the change of the story in your mind. But now you have to keep persisting in, because they will trigger you when they come in, to keep persisting in the new story of you and the new story of them until that becomes your normal life. That's the game changer. So you have to live in your mind more than you live out in the 3D. You have to focus in your mind what it is that you want to experience and persist in that, knowing it's going to manifest. How confident and securing is that, and powerful do you feel knowing all I have to do is focus my attention and my awareness on some fucking thoughts and repeat that shit more than the opposing thoughts, and eventually it hardens into fact that that is actually what I'm going to be living in my life. That's pretty fucking powerful. So don't forget who you are and persist until it hardens into fact. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.